Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I'm Paul Clark and welcome to my studio. Now, what I've got for you lovely lot today. Well, this is a request come from you guys because I've had several of you asking if I could do a demonstration on movement. So, we've got two tutorials today. One painting this lovely coastal grasses blowing in the breeze, and one of this lovely loose style galloping horse. So, come and join me and we'll paint both of these step by step together. So one way of depicting movement is the classic repeat pattern motif, which is fine, but it's more of a stylized approach to painting, and I prefer something which looks more realistic. So I went through my archives and found a couple of paintings showing some areas of movement. Now in this one, titled Dances at Annecy, I wanted to show some swooshing movement in the lady in the red smock. So I used the smudge technique, now more of that later. And here again in the tail and wings of these pheasants. So this is what I do. Here is quite a static painting of an Arctic tern. So I simply take a damp tissue and drag and smudge the paint following the direction of the wing and tail, giving that sense of movement. So today's materials, my paper is some Bockingford Rough, £200, but any decent watercolour paper will do, and 3 brushes from my range, my trusty number 3 rigger, a number 12 round and a 3/4 inch flat. Okay, so for this first demo we're going to paint some grass blowing in the wind, and you can use this just as a simple practice exercise. So starting off with some nice watery yellow ochre, and then dropping in wet some burnt umber. Now for the sea, nice and simple with quick strokes, leaving those gaps of white for the foam and waves. A little splash of cobalt blue for the sky. Now for the grasses, and all my greens are mixed from my usual cobalt blue and cadmium yellow mix, but really varying the colours between a yellowy green and a blue green. Now while it's still wet, I'm scratching out and scoring with the end of my wooden brush. And now using my trusty number 3 rigger for all these fine blades of grass. Let's drop in a little shadow area with some burnt umber, and if some of the green is still wet, that's fine, it all adds to the effect. So again, let this dry, and what about a short break and a glass of, wait for it, Beach Bunny Pale Ale. Yeah, it really does exist. So now it's time for the smudging technique again, which most of you will know I like to use a lot in my work. Damp tissue again, and just drag out these blades out in an upward direction. And it's important you don't do it everywhere, just a few selected areas. Then you can simply add a few extra blades on top. There we go, a simple little exercise. Give it a go. Ooh, I can hear the surf from here. Next for this nice and loose galloping horse, and here is the reference photograph from Pixabay. And I'm just using these three colours for this demo. And I'm using the same paper again, and just two brushes, a number 12 and number 6 round. Now I know horses are quite tricky to draw, so this one is available to download free of charge from my website, link in the description below. Off we go, and I'm going to paint this in a fairly quick, loose way, which will also help to give a lively and energetic feel. This is an equal mix of burnt sienna and burnt umber, and painting in with a very watery mix. I'm also not worried about leaving white unpainted areas. It all adds to that lovely spontaneous feel. And while it's still wet, dropping in mixtures of burnt umber and Payne's grey in the shadow areas. Now to help with that feeling of movement, I'm using clean water to blur the bottom of his feet to suggest he's kicking up the dust. Again here, just building up the shadow layers. And of course a little bit of splattering, which again all helps to give that impression of movement. Next, in with a creamy thick mixture of Payne's grey, and if the horse's neck is still wet, that's fine. It all gives a nice natural transition. And the same for the tail. Quick strokes will also help to give that lovely dry brush texture, all giving it that nice loose feel. The legs are still wet, so I'm still getting nice soft blends. So I've let this dry and I'm now coming in with some more quick details with some burnt umber.
Rusty red on her shoulder, I was cleaning her shoe when it clicked on the trot over in the bright morning dew. We brushed and we braided dandelions and chewed. It was a mutual arrangement we both saw into. Can she walk in the fire? Can she run in the rain? Can she make it up the mountainside? Can she make it down again? I have often wondered if she'll go and jump the fence. Will she keep on moving onward or stay in what could have been? Broke my arm in December, we were running for the thrill. You turned in the canyon to the snowbank where I fell. Even still I remember knowing she could feel it too. Was a mutual arrangement, we both knew what to do. She had a star on her forehead that was easy to find. When I let down her bridle, saw into her hazel eyes. We had a deep understanding, never had to use a bit. Was a mutual arrangement and an honest respect. Can she walk in the fire?
Okay, so for some final details, and I'm now using my number 6 brush and some Payne's Grey, but I really don't want to overwork these, keep them simple.
I have often wondered if she'll go and jump the fence. Will she keep on moving onward or stay in what could have been? Will she keep on moving onward or stay in what could have been?
So now for the smudging technique. Same again, damp tissue and just drag out in a few areas. Now this is definitely one advantage that pulp or cellulose papers like this Bockingford have over cotton papers. The thing is that they will just lift out paint much easier, and there's always going to be pros and cons to each paper. Anyway, all done, nice and loose and quick in just over 30 minutes. Well, I hope you enjoyed those as much as I did and you give them both a go. And you can treat them both as simple painting exercises. So just before we go, I've had several of you ask me about that painting up there. Well, it's a line and wash of the beautiful Scotney Castle, which is just up the road from us here. And in fact, it is in on this month's Leisure Painter step-by-step guide, if you're interested. Anyway, as always, please don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, I do read every single one, and of course I look forward to seeing you all again next week for another Watercolour Wednesday. So take care everyone, cheers, bye for now.